Hi, my name's Amy Long Carrera, and I'm a corporate dietitian at HealthCare. Today we're going to talk about your ostomy and foods that may cause complications, such as gas, odor, constipation, and diarrhea. Gas can be caused by lots of things, anywhere from drinking through a straw, chewing gum, smoking, and foods as well. You've got the ones that you would think about first, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. You've also got onions, garlic, leeks, beans, and carbonated beverages. Those are foods you might want to limit if you have an ostomy because they might cause gas. So a couple of different things you can do to prevent gas is to cook your vegetables. You also want to make sure that you eat smaller, more frequent meals. Going for long periods of time without eating can actually cause more gas. You may also want to avoid chewing gum, smoking, or drinking through a straw. All of those things can cause you to swallow air and increase gas production in your ostomy. Things like eggs, fish, and unfortunately alcohol can all produce odor in your ostomy bag. You may need to limit these foods. Fortunately, there are foods that can actually help prevent odor from happening in your ostomy. Cranberry juice is one, kefir, yogurt, even parsley can help prevent odor in your ostomy bag. Another common problem that can happen with your ostomy is constipation or blockage. So we want to be sure that we limit foods that might cause constipation or get stuck. Some common foods that can make that problem worse would be nuts or seeds, corn is difficult to digest, celery, and fruits with a peel like apples. The most important thing to prevent constipation with your ostomy is to drink plenty of water, at least 8 to 10 glasses of fluid per day, and you may need a little more than that. Other end of the spectrum, we've got diarrhea or loose bowel movements. You want to prevent those because you don't want to lose too much fluid from your body through your ostomy. So some foods that might actually help to thicken your stools would be white rice, white pasta, potatoes without the peel, smooth nut butters. You might want to hold off on chunky nut butters because those could actually cause a blockage. And then also applesauce and bananas. All of these foods can actually help to thicken your stool. Finally, if you have an ileostomy, you might be at increased risk for kidney stones. So your doctor may tell you to avoid foods that are high in oxalates. Those can be nuts and seeds, green leafy vegetables like kale, chocolate, and instant coffee. These are all high oxalate foods that might increase your risk of kidney stones. And of course, back to one of the most important things you can do with your ostomy, drink at least 8 to 10 glasses of fluid per day to stay hydrated. If you have an ileostomy, it may be harder for your body to absorb fluids and to keep sodium and other minerals in your gastrointestinal system. Your doctor may tell you to make an electrolyte drink, something that contains carbohydrates, sodium, potassium, and maybe some other electrolytes. So I'm going to show you a couple different recipes today. The first one starts with Pedialyte and chicken broth. That way you get your carbohydrates, your sodium, a little bit of potassium, and of course your water. For this one, since we're using chicken broth, you might want to use an unflavored Pedialyte. So I'm just going to stir in our 2 ounces of chicken broth with our 6 ounces of Pedialyte, and we're just going to mix that up. Then we'll pour it into a glass, and you'll sip on that throughout the day. Our second recipe is using either Gatorade or grape juice and some salt for your sodium. Although sports drinks do already contain sodium, they generally don't contain enough for your ileostomy. So I've got here my 1.5 cups of water. I'm going to pour that into a large pitcher. So there you've got your fluid for hydration. Then we're going to measure out the same amount of Gatorade or juice. We're going to mix that right in with our water. And then for sodium, already have 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Just going to mix that up. And when that's dissolved, you can pour that into a glass or a pitcher and sip on that throughout the day. This should help you to retain some of your fluids and to stay hydrated and to decrease your ileostomy output throughout the day.